This case is hugely significant, maybe one of the most significant cases the court has ever decided, in the sense that it's about fair representation for all Americans, regardless of their race. What the court did, unfortunately, from my perspective, is to basically eliminate the effectiveness of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which Congress adopted in the hopes of making sure that all voters, regardless of racial background, had equal opportunities to affect the outcome of elections. And for a complicated set of reasons, the majority of the Supreme Court in the Callais case basically disallowed Congress from pursuing that objective. In my judgment, the most important issue in all of American history has been how we could have a fair society in which all American citizens, regardless of race, feel like they equally belong to this country. And for that to happen, there has to be equal political power, regardless of race. If one racial group feels like they're completely oppressed within the election system, the country isn't going to work for them. They're just not going to feel like equal citizens. And so, what Congress wanted to do in the Voting Rights Act is to get beyond the horrific past that America has had in terms of racial inequality and have a new era of racial equality. And so that's why Americans should really care that the Supreme Court has dispossessed Congress of the power for achieving that goal in the way that Congress thought best. Basically, what it means is that it's possible for states to adopt uh, redistricting maps that cause Black citizens in particular, or minority citizens in general, to be submerged. I mean, being a minority means that the overall population of the state is different. And so, um, just a simple example, if you have 10 districts, let's say you have 10 congressional districts from one state, there's no automatic requirement that a racial minority of 20% of the state should have two districts. It's not a rigid formula like that. But if minority groups aren't empowered in any district, you start to worry that there's been a denial of equal political power. And what this decision does is lead to the consequence that there will be more and more districts where minorities lack political power, and fewer districts where they have political power. The one key takeaway is I think people will be talking about this case for 50 years, 100 years. I mean, there's some cases where people learn in school about, Dred Scott, Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education. There are some really big cases in American history. This is going to be one of them. And, we're living today in the year that it was decided. And so it's hard to get that historical perspective on it. But as all Americans, year after year, try to think about, do we have the kind of democracy we want for our society? Should be reminded of what happened this year and whether it has affected the country going forward, and if so, what we can do about it.